Let's do this, shall we? So you may be thinking to yourself right now, Marley, what's this setup? Where are you? What is this desk? What do you have here? Where are all of the books you've read? And that's a fabulous question. And my answer for you is I'm so lazy I didn't want to do it off camera. So I'm going to get all the books now. But this is a little book review pamphlet that my sister got me for Christmas, just in time for this video. So it says book review at the top, and then it has title, author, started, finished, genre, thoughts, overall, stars, plot, characters, world building, writing style, favorite moments. So I figured I would fill this out while I'm talking, because it's basically the exact same thing except for starting and finished, because I don't remember that. And I have all of the stars kept on my phone. So, I'll know. 2025 books I read. Oh, by the way, welcome to the video. This is Marley's 2025 books I've read. Now let's get to books. Starting with the one I finished last night that's still on my nightstand. Get over there. Ugh. Oh wait, while I'm showing you, let me show you this. Ta-da! Okay. Okay, this book I read. Okay, let's just look at my, I'm going to look at my, okay, The Renegades. The Renegades. Meet Me in the Middle. What was that? What book was that? Meet Me in the Middle. Oh, Meet Me in the Middle. Didn't see that coming. I think it's down here, isn't it? Didn't see that coming. Didn't see that coming. Oh, didn't see that coming. The Inheritance Games. All of them. All of them. Once Upon a Broken Heart. Once Upon a Broken Heart, Beg, Borrow, Steal, When in Rome, The 7-Year Slip. There's a lot of dust flying off my shelves right now. Whatever Happens. Whatever happens. Solid butterscotch. All of my decor is falling. Whatever Happens. Sunrise on the Reaping. You and Me at the End of the World. When Irish Guys Are Smiling. Love and Gelato. Practice Makes Perfect. Wings of Starlight. Amelia If Only. This Time It's Real. Sounds Like Love. Tastes Like Love. It is love. The Lucky Ones. See You on Venus, which I just had out there. See You on Venus. Give Me a Sign. Give Me a Sign. Give Me a Sign. You Found Oliver. Mr. Big Shot. Game Changers. Game Changers. Okay. Now that we've got all of those, okay. Let's move you. Oh my gosh. My shorts today. Not my shorts, like my shorts. The shorts I did on YouTube. I dropped books all over me. So that was swell. That was my favorite part of the day. Was literally eating books. Oh, Jessica Chen. I didn't write Jessica Chen down because I just read it. So at the end, I'll have to remember to grab Jessica Chen. Okay. Well, let's do this thing. Okay. Starting at the very beginning in January with the Renegades trilogy by Marissa Meyer. So, firstly, there's obviously Renegades. So, Renegades. Renegades. This should be its own separate video, because it's going to take me forever. Yeah. This is book review, that's book time. Okay, anyway. First up, Renegades. I gave this a 4.6. As I go from a score of 1 star to 5 star. This is shaking in a way that makes me uncomfortable. Okay. I go from 1 star to 5 stars. And so you'll notice a lot of these are like percentages because it bothers me that we have to go to 10. So this is a 4.6. This is a story that's kind of apocalyptic, and it's more of a fantasy book than a romance book. But it was by Marissa Meyer, and I've read all of the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. It's still shaking. So I really wanted to read these, and I read these in the span of 2 days. I read the first one day, and then I read the second one and the third one on the same day. So basically, this one was it was the first book, so you had to do a lot of world building, and it was just very, it's long. I'm sure you noticed that. It's about 550 pages. And I'm just a baby, right? At the beginning of this year, I was a youngin'. I barely did anything, like, reading-wise, and so I think this book was a rough start to the year. And yeah, that's my opinion on it. The romance was the only thing that was keeping me in here. I also will say that there's a couple in here that's 2 guys. His parents, the main love interest's parents, are both is a gay couple. And that walked my world. And so as you'll see as we continue to get into the books, I started getting more comfortable reading books that weren't, the traditional straight couples. And so I read Serendipity this year. Did I skip it? Oh, it was because it was a... So, as you'll see, I'll continue to begin reading more of those. Next is Arch Enemies. This got a 4.8, so higher than the first book because this one had more of the romance. The romance is a kind of like hidden personality. And so that mostly bothered me because of the fact that, she's keeping her, like, personality, or not personality, but like name and who she actually is a secret, and he's keeping his secrets, and so there's a lot of miscommunication, and that's one of my least favorite things ever. But this got higher because it has the kiss, and so then this got a 4.7, so it goes 6, 8, 7. This one was a little weaker, but it did have the ending, like it all tied together. A lot more people died than I was hoping for. I mean, true, I do go from reading rom-coms to reading, like, post-apocalyptic, dystopian, and so I really do think that that probably affected how I was perceiving these books a lot, because generally, if you're just reading romance, it's really hard to take yourself out of it and have to see people die. I will say, there's a character in here who undergoes, like, sexual assault and abuse, and how they handled that character did not... Okay, if you're gonna read these, just cover your ears for a second. Blah, blah, blah. He dies. And so, any like, any kid who went through that, who can also find themselves in this book, gets snuffed out because he passes away, and he had just begun to be happy. And I feel like it was supposed to hit, but instead it just bothered me. And the ending of this story also, the epilogue, I actually went in and rewrote it and sent it to all of the friends who told me to read this, because the epilogue really bothered me. And it was not a satisfying end to the story. So that was the Renegades trilogy. As a whole, I mean, I know we have like a 6 and then an 8 and then a 7. But as a whole, this series, I would recommend it. I don't know if I just made it sound like I would recommend it. But keep in mind that I am a romance girly, and so this is kind of rough. I have a sister who really likes fantasy. Probably going to give these to her next. I'm going to put finished books on the floor. Okay, next, Meet Me in the Middle. Oh, it's at the bottom of this pile. My gosh. Meet me Meet Me in the Middle by Alex Light. I have read 2 other books by Alex Light. The first one was being The Upside of Falling, which was her Wattpad debut that was turned into a book. And then the next one was It's Not Me, It's You, which was my 2024 book of the year. So I had high expectations. And this got a 2.9 out of 5. Which is not the lowest ranking, I believe, but it's pretty much down there. Simply because I feel it was falsely presented. I think I went into it not completely understanding what this truly was. I just went on a whole rant about how I'm a rom-com girl, and how if there is anything short of a happy ending, X nay, I sobbed. And that's not really something that brings me pleasure, and so I didn't like this book. I'm never going to reread it, and I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend it. Anything else by Alex Light, read anything else. But it wasn't even, I don't even think it was handled well. The story is that this, Eden's best friend is in a car accident and is in a coma, and her brother is like Eden's fling thing. So then they like are trying to reconnect, but the best friend's in a coma. Katie. And the ending is just awful. So didn't see that coming is that's the one again. My horse. Didn't See That Coming by Jessie Q. Sutanto. I read this on a car trip. I read the whole thing. I actually finished Didn't See Meet Me in the Middle, and then I read this one because I was so depressed afterwards. This book, okay, wait, first it got a 4.8, which was the same ranking as Arch Enemies, if you remember that. This book is about a girl named Kiki who is really very confident, and she's a gamer, but she plays anonymously as a guy so that nobody knows that she's a girl, because it handles those kinds of subjects like feminism, women's place in the world, women's place and how they were put there by men, and kind of like that path. And then she transfers to a school and finds out that her best friend who's online goes there. So the whole story is about her trying to find out who it is without him knowing that it's her. And then there's a couple guys who you think might be it. and then there's a couple guys who really are it. Banger of a book. I'm not sure what else she's written. Well, that was unexpected. Oh, Dial A for Aunties. I believe that was kind of going around. I loved this book. I think the cover is so pretty. I am such a gamer, so I really enjoyed this. I talked to my brother a lot about it afterwards, because I was like, they're gamers? And really, it was just actually amazing. This was a very good book. One of the most solid we've had, I think, in the whole line so far. So, fabulous. Next is the inheritance games, which means I need to do some rearranging. So while I'm doing that, let me talk to you about the inheritance games and how I found out about them. So I kind of avoided the inheritance games for a long time because I knew they were super long and they were really, I didn't want to read them. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was aware of the fact that they existed. And then a friend of mine who read The Renegades, and actually was the person who suggested The Renegades to me, said, you need to read the inheritance games because they're fabulous and I love them. So I read them. I got the first 3, and then, as you probably know, I just think that I need all of the books, even though I haven't finished reading the other books. So I also bought The Brothers Hawthorne. So, starting with the first one, this got a 4.9 from me, which is crazy. Wow. Marley was very excited when she read this. It was, actually, I do remember, it was such a good introduction to the story. I was really drawn in. I love Knives Out, the movie, and this is very much giving Knives Out, and so I was a big fan of it. I'm not really a mystery girl because I'm too stupid for it, but this made it so easy, and not that I was like figuring out the plot twist before they happened, but it was kind of there. I think the only thing that I didn't like about it was that it was sort of a love triangle, like the two brothers like the one girl, and so that bothered me. I did skip to the end to see which brother she ended up with, and I was like, because I wasn't going to read it if it was Grayson. So, that got a 4.9. Next, the Hawthorne Legacy, which is the second one. This is a 4.6. I think this was, yes, out of the main 3, this was my lowest ranked, just because it felt like she was really trying to draw out the story. It didn't need to be here. The cover is the prettiest. I like the blue. This is my favorite cover of all of them, I think. Yes. And so I was really just kind of questioning why we needed to be here. Why did this need to happen? The whole thing with her dad, like, I don't know. This was just felt like a filler book. And I think most times in series, the middle book normally feels like a filler book. But this just felt like she was unnecessarily dragging out the story and didn't need to. And then the final Gambit is a 4.8 because even though she drew out the story, she does wrap it up in a fabulous way. I loved how she wrapped it up. I liked the closure you got. I liked everything, all the components kind of falling together. Again, with the dad, like, what is happening there? But it's fine. I like how she ended up with Jameson. I had a classmate named Jameson, so I kind of didn't like that name because he was mean, but yeah. I don't remember what the girl's name was who's kind of like the Emily? When I catch you, Emily. Anyway. Next, The Brothers Hawthorne, 4.4. I almost DNF'd this book 5 times. I downloaded the audiobook so I could listen to it while trying to, like, do something with my life. I read it over this, I think I read it in a day because I just wanted to get it out of my grasp. Still, a 4.4 isn't bad. I really liked Grayson's storyline in this book and him finding that. I'm finding it. I didn't like how Avery felt like an object throughout the entire thing. I didn't really feel like she was... Her and Jameson weren't on the same level that they were in the final Gambit. I just struggled to pick that up and then almost broke it. She just felt like an object. And I feel like anyone who reads it will absolutely agree with me. Like, she wasn't appreciating her brains until they're in the bedroom. So, 4.9, 4.6, 4.8, and a 4.4. Not bad. Oh, right. This is by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I didn't say that. Beautiful. I haven't read any of the other books, and I'm not going to. There are way too many. Girl, you need to stop. Okay? You're already rich. Stop writing these books. 3 was enough. Make a show with all the money. Then cast me. Okay. Then I read Once Upon a Broken Heart. This is all still in January, guys. I was really kicking it in January. This is the most I've read all year. Once Upon a Broken Heart by, I think, Stephanie Garber. Yes. I don't know. I was in a fantasy mood, and I'm never in a fantasy mood, and then I read this book. It was gagging. I love Jax. I don't like whatever the other guy's name is. I don't remember. And then I bought the 2 next books. I don't know if you can see. I bought the 2 next books, and I never read them, because I immediately was out of the fantasy brain space, and I really tried to read the second one, but I couldn't. I need someone to tell me what happens so that it's worth it for me to go towards. But this got a 4.6, I think because it itched my fantasy, and it was just this alright book. Didn't make me really want to read the next ones. I hated how she was holding on to the man whose name I've forgotten. We'll never know. So. Nope. 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 I like when he gets bitten by the vampire and, like, goes all crazy. That was hot. I'm a simple gal. Does he even have a name? Hello? Oh, I like the nickname. Apollo. Ah! Apollo. I hate Apollo. Okay, moving on. Beg, Borrow, or Steal. Beg, Borrow, Steal by Sarah Adams. I saw somebody talking about this book, and I was like, okay. I saw someone talking about, I was like, my most anticipated, I think it was Destiny, from Destiny Reads. She was talking about her most anticipated 2025 releases, and she was talking about this book. And then I saw it at Walmart, and I was like, oh, she talked about it. So I picked it up, unknowing of what was inside. And so this wasn't the first smut book I read. It definitely wasn't. So I would normally say she was just shocked by the smut, but I wasn't. I don't know why I touched that. I got myself in third person. I wasn't shocked by the smut. I was bewildered because it felt so physical. Like, you can have sexual tension without it being every time they see each other, they barely talk and they just start kissing. And so this book got a 4 solid, just because I didn't really like it, but it was fine. She's a teacher and he's a teacher, so it kind of bothered me because you never think about what the teachers are doing on their weekends off. And so this, I was like, oh my gosh. And then she goes and teaches children. And there's like this whole thing about he has a necklace that one of his kids gave him, and he's wearing it while they're like sleeping together, and he goes to take it off, and she's like, no. And so he sleeps with her wearing a necklace that a 4-year-old like made for him. So, and I think she would like purposely leave it on. Like it was a thing. I haven't reread it since. But then I found out that it was a series. And so then I was like, there's another book? When in Rome by Sarah Adams. 5 stars! We reached our first 5 stars. I was awed. And I started sobbing when it was over, and I gave this, the reason this isn't a 0, no, okay, the reason that this book isn't in, like, I don't know, this book gave me this book, so, oh my word, and then this is all that I wanted. They still sleep together, but it's still wholesome. It doesn't feel so physical. He just loves her to pieces, and I love the name Amelia, and I just, oh my gosh, this literally got a 5 stars, and I was ranting and raving about it. Made my mom read the entire series. Yes, she read this after I just said that they sleep together. I don't have boundaries. I say gagging in a good way, by the way. I'm like, gag like I'm clutching my pearls. I'm going to put these to the side because the middle book is coming up. I just haven't read it yet. So, wait for that. Okay, next. When in Rome. When in Rome. Oh no. The 7-year slip. The 7-year slip. I just did when in Rome. Okay. I called out sick from school and read this on my grandma's couch in a day. In a couple hours, actually. So I'm incredibly uncomfortable now, and I have to keep moving. So this is by Ashley Poston. Before I read this, I read a novel love story, and I don't remember what I gave it, but I thought it was very good. And so I read this because everyone says it's better than all of the other ones, and it's like her thing, and they were all like, 7-year slip. It got a 4.8, 7.35. If that makes any sense to you guys. So basically, I love this book, but there were definitely drawbacks, and there were things that made me feel like I didn't really like it that much, and so I definitely did pull back a little bit. The smut in this book was very smut. I'm gonna like, they were not wholesome about it. And it didn't feel like it was a way to express how much you love your partner. It just felt like they had both not gotten any for months. Which I'm pretty sure is the actual story. And the fact that she talks to, it's like a whole thing about time travel. I haven't been explaining the books, I'm so sorry. It's a whole thing about time travel, and then she argues with him and then goes back in time and sleeps with his past self. And he's like, did you do that to get back at me? And she's like, no. And I'm like, she definitely did. What do you mean? So that was a drawback. My mom also read this, and I don't remember what she thought, but I'm pretty sure she thought it was amazing because I probably forced her to. And the nicknames. And the reveals. Good book. It's not 5 stars though. But I haven't read Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, and so I think that's definitely her best book. February, Whatever Happens. February was my era of not reading anything. So the only book I read was the Julian the Phantom's original novel, Whatever Happens, which is a prequel to the series. I haven't fixated on this. If you remember any of my Italy vlogs, like, go back and read my Italy vlogs because you'll definitely know why this got 5 stars. It definitely got 5 stars. You'll definitely know why. We were thick into the Owen Joyner obsession, and I read this on the plane, and this was the first book I ever annotated, so that was special to me. I will say that there is a part in here that I'm going to read out loud, just because I'm such a big fan of it. Where are we? Okay, so there's a character in here who is gay, and that was like a big deal for me. I know my parents are going to watch this, so this is awkward. But, like, that was a big deal for me because I never really, like, I don't know, I grew up Christian. And so, I am Christian, not grew up. But I was cradle Catholic. So, I was kind of just, I don't know what the word is. It's supposed to go there. I don't know, I was just like, I didn't think that they were, like, I didn't understand. And so, a lot of the time, I want to say, I was, like, kind of standoffish. So, then I read this book and was kind of just like, I don't know. It kind of hooked, because I never thought about it from that point of view. I'm like very much not like someone who thinks about someone else's point of view, which I'm trying to get better at, but I'm not like someone is rude to me, I don't think that they're having a bad day, I just think that they're being rude to me, and I kind of move on and don't care and cut that person off or something. So I didn't consider anybody else's point of view, so let me read this. Ever since Alex came out to his parents, they were weird any time Alex brought a guy friend home. Like they were worried he had more on his mind than just hanging out with us. It drove Alex crazy. I didn't blame him. It drove me crazy too, because their treatment of Alex was a downright buzzkill. His parents largely ignored him these days, leaving a strange silence whenever he entered the room. And they weren't exactly supportive of his musical abilities either. They used to be so warm and welcoming, but all that had changed, and their silence and coldness had started to dampen the brightness of Alex's smile. It really, really sucked. And that just made me sad, because I don't know. I don't think that we should hate people, and so that just really bothered me. And of course it's set kind of in those eras when, you know, the transition was happening between it being accepted and being legal and everything. And so it kind of really just puts stuff in perspective, and it's a kid's book, but it really hits. And so, and also in the height of the hyperfixation, this was just a very good book. I think I read this book at exactly the right time, and I really needed to read it at that moment. That was the only book I read in February, because I went to Italy for a week, and so I was really busy before and after that. So that was the only book I got to. Sunrise on the Reaping is the amateur story from Hunger Games, and probably read it. When you've been set up to lose everything you love, what is there to fight for? We all know this book well. It is obviously the fifth Hunger Games book to come out. It's right between The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and the first one, because obviously it's Amateur's Games. They're making the movie about it. Trailers have been releasing. It has McKenna Grace in it. It's got a 4.9. I sobbed at the end of it, and not in a good way. Not in the meet me in the not in a bad way. Not like the meet me in the middle sobbing was regarding this time I had spent on the book. This hurt. It hurt me. My parents thought I was crazy. I did a whole entire ranking of this book alone. I did an entire video dedicated to it, so you can go and watch that if you want more in-depth. But this did get a 4.9. And I really like it. And the colors. I have highlighted the original 3, but I haven't highlighted this one. I don't know if I'll ever get around to that. Next, that's the only book I read in March. April, we started with You and Me at the End of the World by Brianna Bourne. I bought this book because I was kind of in the mood for a fantasy, kind of not in the mood for a fantasy. It seemed kind of like both. It's kind of also post-apocalyptic. And so it's just these two kids alone. They've been like left with nobody else, and they don't know why, and there's a lot of twists and turns and plot twists. I actually gave my sister this book for Christmas, and she read it in a day and completely and utterly figured out the plot twists within the first 5 minutes. So that was crazy. And yes. Oh, what did it get? 4.5. I think this was a very okay book. It didn't rock my world. It was just good. It did rock my world in the last, 100 pages, and I stayed up all night reading it, but that's not new. Next. When Irish Guys Are Smiling. Irish Guys Are Smiling. Okay. I read this during Holy Week because I gave up my phone for Friday, Saturday, and then I got it back on Sunday. And so I basically read all of Saturday because I was bored out of my mind and it was so hot out. I was dying. But this is When Irish Guys Are Smiling by Suzanne Supley. It is self-published. I got it in one of those blind book things, and my mom read it before me on the plane to Italy. She didn't like it. Then I read it. Got a 2.5. This may be the worst rated book. Yeah, 2.5. Definitely the worst. It just wasn't good because it's self-published, and so I do think that self-published books, sometimes they deserve to be out there, especially like, there's so much work that goes into self-publishing a book, but there's a certain stigma around self-published books, and I don't think it can be broken because it's somewhat true that they're not to the same standard because they weren't good enough to be published, and so there's that lacking factor of, yeah, I don't even know, the romance didn't click. It wasn't even, they didn't have anything when they kissed. It was almost like just two random strangers kissing. You didn't know anything about any of the characters. And really my favorite part of it was every character who wasn't the main two couple. Like she writes big groups of people coming together very well, and maybe I appreciate that because I also write big groups of people coming together very well. Not to toot my own horn, but it was fine. I read it. It happened. Next I read Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. This got a 4.7, so still kind of good, kind of not. I think it got a couple off because I was really annoyed with how our main character was acting. Again, all of these people are kids, and so it's almost like you can't blame them, but then again, I was a kid once, so I feel like I know that you don't have to do that to people. Sorry, a pumpkin just followed me. So this got like I said, a 4.7. And this has a rape warning. The main character is a child of rape. And so practice makes perfect! By Sarah Adams. Yeah, this was the middle one that goes between these two. So they're one big happy family. Practice Makes Perfect got a 4.8, which means that's directly in the middle. This was my second favorite of the series, obviously just because I hated this one and loved this one. Practice Makes Perfect, it just lost me a little bit with the whole he's teaching her how to flirt and the line blurs. I like that they had really set boundaries and that they kind of crossed, low-key. And I think that just annoyed me because I didn't like the whole he's teaching her how to flirt, so he has to flirt with her. I like that she was an innocent person and she wanted people to stop treating her like that, and so she learns to speak up for herself. That was good. I'm swallowing so much dust right now, like my throat. Get through it. Next is Wings of Starlight in May by Allison Soft. This was a story, if you've seen Secret of the Wings. There was a side story with the Queen Clarion and the winter guy, who I'm pretty sure his name is Malloy. So this is the story between them. The cover is just beautiful. Look at that. So I read this one, and it got 5 stars. I gave it to my sister because we both really liked this. So I knew it was going to end sadly because their story kind of wraps up at the end of the movie, But then I went back and rewatched the movie and was like, gagged. So this was just a really good book. It is a sad ending, but it's, you know it going in. You're prepared for it, and so that's just way better. And the emotion. Okay. That was the only book I read in May, and then I didn't read anything in June, so skipping to July. I read first Amelia If Only by Becky Albertalli. She is also known for Love, Simon. So this is the story of Natalie and what's her name? Amelia. Oh my gosh, Amelia If Only, and I'm like, who's that? So this is the story of Amelia and Natalie. This is my first not straight couple book, solid ever. I got a 4. I didn't like it. I said something I regret. So I'm probably gonna cut that. There's a side couple that are 2 guys, and they were just so wholesome that they were the reason that kept me going through it. Because these 2 girls, like, I don't know, it's almost like they're just girls to me, really known for being mean. And so it was just like, and it didn't give me warm, fuzzy feelings. So I got a 4. The dust in my throat. Okay. This time it's real. By Anne Liang. I also read I Hope This Doesn't Find You by Anne Liang, so that's why I read this. It's a fake dating, and everyone knows I'm not a fan of fake dating, but I read it anyway because it's Anne Liang, and I bought it, and I loved it, and it got a 4.7, except it does get points off because it's fake dating. I just can't fix that. I liked his name. Kaz. Yeah. It made me want to reread, I Hope This Doesn't Find You. The drama. I just remembered all of the drama. So this got a 4.7. I think it just got some points off for the normal reasons. You know, it was a fine book. Next is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Costin. This was her new 2025 book. And 5 stars. This might be the book of the year. It just... Man. The nicknames. Oh my gosh. The magical realism. This might be the book of the year, guys. I'm going to put it to the side because maybe it is. The Lucky Ones by Liz Lawson. This is a book about a girl who survived a school shooting, and the guy, the son of the woman who is representing the school shooter in court, and they both really, well, she doesn't like him, and then he kind of keeps his identity a secret from her. But they fall in love, and it really puts a lot of things in perspective for me. This was one of those perspective books. I picked it up because I was kind of like in a okay mood, and so I wanted maybe something sadder. And it got a 4.7, so same as This Time It's Real. It really just, it hits you. Yeah, I recommend it to a lot of people on my on my YouTube. Then See You on Venus. I read this because I watched the movie that was on Netflix. It got a 4. I liked the movie better. It just bothered me that it wasn't the movie, which I think is awful, but 4. I would say watch the movie, don't read the book, but that's kind of crazy. Okay, October. I didn't read anything in August or September. I read all the books that I got for my birthday though. Give Me a Sign by Anna Solito. This is the book by On the Bright Side that I read before. This got a 4.6. I wasn't a massive fan of kind of the love triangle, but I thought it was good. I thought the ending was kind of confusing. They're both deaf, and so that kind of also puts perspective in things, and so I feel like I'm not talking as much because we're getting toward the end. I'm so sorry. This is one of those books that I feel like I couldn't really relate to her because obviously I'm not having the same troubles as her, so it's harder to be that like empathetic person when there's not one thing that you can have in common, which I guess is just basic human empathy. Like, even if you don't understand it, you can feel bad for them. But it was hard to understand because it felt so out of the blue that they're that conflict and everything. Like, why would that happen? You know, and so it kind of almost bothered me a little bit, but I do think I maybe compared it too much to On the Bright Side because I really liked On the Bright Side. So it got a 4.6. Next, I read Serendipity because it was almost my middle name. You know, my name on here is Marley Serenity. It could have been Marley Serendipity. I'm kidding. I just always liked the name and was like, Mom and Dad, why didn't you name me Serendipity? It's fine. And so this is a collection of a whole bunch of different stories, and so I didn't rank it. But I read it, and I think it was good. Yeah, there's only one or two ones that are in here that are really actually good, because it's insta-love, because it's short stories, you only have so much to talk. So, I don't like it that much. Next, You Found Oliver in November. Oh my gosh. 4.8. Golly gee Wilkes Booth. This book, I didn't read You've Reached Sam. This is a continuation or the other opposite story of You've Reached Sam. I loved this book. The drama, the suspense, the drama again, the reveals, the magic realism, crazy, and the ending kind of ripped me apart because I really don't like it whenever there's a story like, almost like that, a Groundhog Day or something, where one of them remembers and the other doesn't, because I feel like the entire time you're married to them or dating them, you're just keeping this awful secret. And so I didn't like that, because he remembers and he doesn't. I thought it was really interesting going into it and then being like, I didn't really know the beginning of the story, but I thought that was better almost. And I love the name Oliver. And I like how it started. So this was just a really good story, I think. It almost gave me Steve and Bucky vibes. Because it's like he's mourning his friend and then someone else comes in. Next is Mr. Big Shot by R.S. Gray. This book shivered my timbers. I was like gagged and wowed, and it was actually crazy. I thought about this book for a really long time after I read it. I just kept showing up in my brain. It almost gave a little bit of the love hypothesis, just the power dynamic, the fact that he's her boss. I like how he treated her. That was sweet. I didn't like the whole, someone says that she's bad in bed, and so then she's like, you have to sleep with me to rate me and tell me how I did. No. But the rest of the book was good. 4.8. Honestly though, that was like a, ugh, but it's fine. There's always things that you regret. They really regretted that, didn't they? Then I read Red, White, and Royal Blue. 5 stars. Next I read Game Changers in December. I don't know if you guys have seen the Heated Rivalry thing. This is the first book in the series of Heated Rivalry, or the Game Changers series, but, you know, the next one's Heated Rivalry. If you've seen the show, it's on HBO. It is about two hockey players who fall in love, and they can't come out because they're hockey players and no one in the NFL is gay. And in the show, there's a side couple called Scott and Kip. I haven't seen the show. I've just been watching edits of people talking about it because I don't have HBO and I don't want to pay for it on Prime. And I just didn't really have a need to watch it. But I loved watching the Kip and Scott edits and the scene in episode 5. And so I bought the book. It just sold out everywhere. I got it from thrift books. I made a lot of reels about how excited I was about getting it. I made a big deal about it and read it in a day. I read this yesterday. Or the day before. The day before yesterday. Because it came, I think, the day after Christmas. So, it got a 4.6 from me because it was, and tell me if I sound like a broken record, so physical. What the heliante. Every time they saw each other, they were just kissing and sleeping with each other, and it was awful. Awful. And a lot of these books, the smut, feels like wholesome. It reminds you that smut used to be called making love, because it's really like two people genuinely loving each other so much and sharing in literally like the most intimate thing that you can possibly do. And so smut, I feel, it just gives a connotation of being like, it's just physical. They're just sleeping together. They're just. And that's awful to me because, I don't know, like I still have that really like reverent hold for it. Like that is something that you should do when you, I don't know, it feels like it's almost like non-consensual because it's all they want. So in this book, for most of it, they just sleep together. And so it really bothered me actually, and I almost was like, stop. Like, I need you to stop. I need you to start talking to each other. I need you to talk about what this all means and what it all does. And because this isn't the story of, you know, the people in Heated Rivalry, and so I didn't know where it was going. I didn't know what was going to happen. And obviously, you know, he's struggling with coming out, and he's struggling with him not coming out, and he can't come out because he's an NFL player, and he wants him to come out anyway because he doesn't want to be a secret anymore, and he thought he was going to be okay with it, but he can't. And they just sleep with each other. And at the end, when they come back together after the third act conflict, and they sleep together, it almost feels like the author was trying, or Rachel Reed. It almost feels like Rachel, hard to say, this is by Casey McQuiston. It almost feels like she was trying to make it reunion. Like, they finally spoke, but it was the exact same as it had been all the other times. They didn't leave anything new to experience when all of the feelings finally came together. And so it really bothered me. But it got a 4.6 just because I love them in the show. I like their story a lot. It just got 4 points off every time they kissed, or something that I didn't think that they needed to do. But I love it. Oh, the bottom's broken a little bit. That's what I get for thrift books. Next up, we have the last book of the year. I read this last night until this morning. Read it until 1 a.m. I Am Not Jessica Chen by Anne Liang. I don't have a rating for this, so I'm going to put one in here right now. I Am Not Jessica Chen by... Oh, so, yes. I don't know if you think that that name is familiar or anything, but apparently she's written 2 other books that I really like. she wrote, I hope it doesn't find you, and obviously, I just talked about it, this time it's real. What's it called? I am not Jessica Chen. I am not Jessica Chen. I think it would get a 4.5. 4 point, what did it call? I swear something got a 4.4 and I was just talking about it. Has nothing ever gotten a 4.4? Maybe it gets a 4.4. I don't know if it was because I read it all night and so it kind of all blows together and it kind of all seemed confusing. Most of the story of the romance is told through flashbacks. It struggles with feelings of like self-hatred and body dysmorphia kind of, and self insecurity, and a lot of things that just were very heavy for like a teenage girl's thoughts and feelings. So she wishes she could be her cousin, who's super smart and pretty, and obviously no one's perfect. And so that definitely, it kind of gave Dorian Gray a little bit, because she has this painting of herself that she painted that keeps disappearing and people start forgetting who she is. But there's this one guy who she is able to convince that she is Jenna Chen, so who she actually is, and she's not actually Jessica, she's just in Jessica's body. And so I originally saw this book by someone saying, when the guy recognizes you even if you're in another body. And so I was really excited for that to happen, and then it didn't happen. She was just managed to convince him, and he just knew her very well, and so he was like, it really is you, isn't it? But he didn't figure it out. She just told him. And then after, like, proving it, he remembered. So, also, something that bothered me is their love story is told entirely through flashbacks. And when you're sleep deprived and reading it in the middle of the night, yes, the flashbacks get drowned out and everything. But it just annoyed me so much, because I was like, this is stuff that, obviously nothing was going to happen when she was in Jessica Chen's body. And the kiss at the end is barely even a kiss, even when she's back in her own body. But it was kind of this whole story about how they were BFFs, and then she wanted him and he didn't want her, and miscommunication. And so the fact that it was told all and wholly completely through flashbacks bothered me, because I was almost like waiting for something to happen, and it didn't. I mean, a couple scenes, I didn't even feel like they were meant to end up together. And I really think that this book could have been better if I hadn't stayed up all night. But I'm a rom-com girl, and it's not a rom-com, it's something that makes you think, and I didn't want to think. It was the middle of the night, so I kind of just like didn't think about it and maybe skimmed a few pages. And so I think this book, if I was thinking about that and I wanted to relate to somebody, then it would have been really good. But I've personally never had any of those problems. I always felt very comfortable with who I was and what body I was in and how I was thinking. And even if I thought it was a major disappointment, it would never be that deep and that bad and that awful to be, to feel, to know. And so I think almost there's also the detached there of she wants you to know what she's feeling, and I can't know what she's feeling. So 4.4, I would say. I think the cover is so pretty. I love it. I got it for Christmas. I liked the idea that she was a painter, and so that's where like the Dorian Gray thing comes in. Like, she's trapped in the paint, her body's trapped in the painting, and it's slowly being covered by purple paint that she spilt on it. I was more of a fan of Jessica's character than anybody else's. I could relate to Jessica more. Like the academic stress of being perfect and having a reputation to withhold and feeling like you need to act a certain way around people. Jenna was very much just herself, and she was bothered by that, but Jessica was somebody else, and she was bothered by that, and I could relate to that more. So I almost feel like there should have been a book that was I am Jessica Chen. Maybe and write a accompanying book to that or something. But all in all, that was my 2025 leads. I definitely do think that Ashley Poston with Sounds Like Love is our winner. So last year's book of the year was It's Not Me, It's You by Alex Light, and this year's book of the year is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I think that sounds right. So, the end. There isn't any more. I'll see you all in the new year. I hope you have a fantastic 2026. You can find me on Instagram. Here's my thing. It's there. And you can also find me on New Year's under my dining room table eating grapes because I need to fall in love. So, make sure to watch other videos. I post 3 shorts a day every day, and I have been since April. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. If you have a certain suggestion you want to put in the comment section, feel free to do that. I love reading all of your guys' comments. I love you all. Again, I hope you all have a really good 2026. Whee!